YouTube, man, what's going on? It's LNH back with another video, and today, man, we gotta talk about it. Mikey Williams has just come back from a recent injury. A lot of you guys know this dude was actually out due to an injury for a little bit. He is 100% healthy from the looks of it, and this dude's bounce is going crazy, and he just had a recent game where he went off. So we're gonna break it down and get right into it. Now, of course, you guys know this by now. Mikey Williams, whenever he gets on the court, is putting on a show. I think that's the huge thing about him. He knows how to give people a show, get eyes on him, and really attract a ton of attention. And in this most recent game, that's exactly what he did. Now, Mikey Williams actually uploaded this video on his Instagram, and I want you guys to take a look at this dude's bounce. Now, if we take a look at it, of course, he's jumping up there, he's touching the thing, and it actually listed here as a 46-inch vertical. Now, that is insane. He got it on video, so we can't really say that it's not true, but in my opinion, this is insane for someone his age. Now, if we think about it, honestly, in my opinion, Mikey Williams does not always seem like he's the most explosive or bouncy type of player. But a jump like that is insane, and that's honestly probably in the record books for one of the highest jumps. Now, when we take a look at bounce and other players that have bounce, let's take a look at some of these comparisons. Now, the record for the NBA Combine is actually held by Keon Johnson's vertical, which is 48 inches, which means Mikey Williams is only 2 inches off. Now, you guys know JD Davidson, which has huge bounce. This guy can jump out of the gym, is 44.5, and Zion is 45. Now, you're telling me Mikey Williams has a higher vert than Zion Williamson? I think that's insane if this is true. I'm not gonna lie, in my opinion, it is a little bit hard to believe. But again, we did see the footage there, and it is on film, so I really can't argue with it too much. But if this really is true, I think Mikey Williams has been putting a ton of work on the Vertimax and working on his bounce. Now, with Mikey Williams being this tall and honestly having this bounce, I think this is tremendously going to give him a great advantage when he tries to get to the next level. If you think about it, being crazy athletic is only going to help you when you do get to college and the NBA, which is honestly great in my opinion for this dude. Now, he actually did have a recent game as well where Mikey Williams, honestly, in my opinion, went off, but there's something we have to address. Now, Mikey was actually playing alongside Robert Dillingham. A lot of you guys know this dude is another guard from North Carolina and is one of the highest recruited guards in the country as well. Now, he was playing with him, and Mikey actually finished with 32 points and 8 assists, which honestly, we can't say he wasn't passing the ball. If he had 8 assists, that's pretty good. And obviously 32 points is very excellent as well. Now, I think one of the most impressive things about Mikey's game is his aggression on the court. This dude is not afraid to really go after it, try to put the ball in the basket, and really doesn't care about what other people think. And honestly, in my opinion, this can be a good and a bad thing. Now, when we take a look at and compare with somebody like Bronny James, who is more of a pass first guard, which a lot of people were really hating on me for making a video on him and critiquing him. Honestly, in my opinion, I want to see these guys do great in the future. But when we take a look at this, I think Bronny is the type of player to sacrifice his points to make sure his teammates get involved and catch a W at the end of the day. Where Mikey seems like he's more someone who's just going to make his own shots. Even if they're going in or not, he's still going to be putting up a ton of shots, which can be looked at as a good thing or a bad thing. But since this guy is such a solid scorer, it really is viewed as a positive thing, especially in AAU basketball. Now, the thing about this game was Mikey's team was honestly down for a huge part of the game. And even towards the end of the game, this dude started doing windmill dunks and between the leg dunks where he was going crazy. Now, I got to be honest here, this is honestly a huge issue with AAU. And I think it's blowing out proportion when we look at people like someone like Bronny James and Mikey Williams. Mikey likes to put on a show when he gets on the court, and that's no doubt. He's going to make sure that you remember seeing him play, and he honestly has fans like a herd. People really come over to him and love this guy for everything he does. Whereas somebody like Bronny James, of course, is definitely not as flashy, but I think in terms of winning games and focusing on the better of the team, trying to get the W, try to get your teammates involved, and make sure you're solid on the court, having a solid squad, Bronny James is 100% that guy when it comes to that aspect. But of course, this aggression and this type of talent and just going after it, I think that's what really separates Mikey Williams and allows him to be such a highly ranked player. Now, of course, ESPN did de-rank this dude, but at the end of the day, we know rankings do not matter as much as a lot of people want to put weight on them for. And how many times do we see these top highly recruited players end up not being as good when they get to the next level in their career? Now, let's think about somebody like Trayvon Duval. Of course, another really solid player in high school basketball, but what happened to him when he got to the next level? Really did not have a great, excellent college career, and I believe he was in the G League at one point, and honestly, in my opinion, I'm not even sure if he's in the G League anymore. But I think that's a perfect example of just because you're a great player in high school does not mean it will translate to the next level. Now, a lot of people want to beg the question, if we're talking about game and translating to the next level, will Mikey Williams' game actually carry over? In my opinion, it's tough. I think it will, but at the end of the day, there are certain things in his game that I think that people like to tend to look at and overlook other players in his class. Now, again, in this game when he was playing, man, his team was getting killed, and he was honestly at the end of the game just throwing the ball up there, having a dunk contest, and sometimes that could be looked at as bad and making the game all about you instead of really trying to go and try to get up and try to bring your team back to the W. So sometimes it does seem like he focuses more on himself than actually helping the overall team try to get to the W, which of course some people think this is good, other people really don't agree with it, but hey, you got to get yours at the end of the day, and Mikey Williams for sure does do that. Now, I've seen a ton of comments, and I must address this, really trying to call me out for talking about younger players in the game of basketball. And yes, that's something that I always preface. We have to remember that these guys are kids. They're not grown adults. They're in high school, very similar to some of you guys that are playing the game of basketball and are just trying to make it out, trying to make a name for themselves and get to the next level. And we always have to keep that in mind. Now, honestly, I'm going to say this once and for all. Man, if Bronny James had some of Mikey Williams' aggression, I'm going to be honest here, I think Bronny would be better than Mikey. And the reason I say this again, and someone actually put an excellent comment in the comment section about these two type of players. Man, Bronny James is not overrated, but he may be overhyped at times, because there are times, of course, this dude has the talent and skill to be at the next level, to really dominate, but he doesn't always show it. And that's not a lack of talent. It's really a lack of aggression. But we see Mikey Williams, who has that talent and plus the aggression to go alongside it. So of course, this dude is going to look better than other players who may actually be more talented than him in the long run. And that's why I think personally, man, if Bronny James really had that aggression, he would be honestly one of the best players in the country. And that's why a lot of people even say when Bronny James is actually going to be a senior, that he will be the best player in the country. I believe Gilbert Arenas even said this. And the reason why I think it's a very likely possibility, but of course, it's a little shaky as well, just because we haven't seen it yet. We've seen glimpses of when Bronny really goes out there and is much more aggressive, but we do not see it all the time. Now, I'm telling you, when Bronny actually gets this lead role on Sierra Canyon, it's going to be a different story, and hopefully he starts playing really good against solid teams. I think that's when people are going to start calling him overhyped and overrated. The chant about that will officially end once he is the leader of the team, 1, and 2, he actually shows up in big games. Then, honestly, in my opinion, this dude will probably be one of the best players in the country. But you guys let me know in the comments down below if you think there's anything I missed about Mikey Williams' game. Of course, his vert being higher than Zion Williamson. Man, I don't know about that one, I'm not gonna lie. And Mikey Williams' most recent game as well, him having 32-8, doing an excellent job with Robert Dillingham as well. But they did lose, we gotta admit it, they did lose the game. And what do you think about Bronny James if he had that type of aggression that Mikey Williams had? Would he be better than Mikey? Man, let me know in the comments down below. But man, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, get a notification every time I upload a new video, and give me any video suggestions that you do have. Leave them in the comment section down below. I am always checking them out. Man, I appreciate all the support that we've been getting on the channel, man. All right, so LNH, I'm out.